If you've been around many pilots, you may have heard the saying that you see some old pilots, you see some bold pilots, but you don't see any old, bold pilots. Why is that? It's because bold pilots typically take too many chances. They don't make it to be old. Old pilots, they've got lots of experience. They have seen just about everything that you can see, and that's why they live to be old. It's kind of like wisdom. You know, young people, they don't have wisdom. And the only way you get wisdom is by living, and it's getting old, and by observing. I'm going to share a story with you about an epiphany that happened in my life, and hopefully you can relate to this. And if you can, terrific. And if not, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's just plain as day. Years and years ago, probably 30 years ago, when I was doing my TV hunting and fishing shows at a video production company, I had made friends with this guy, a very wealthy, successful businessman who owned a ginormous ranch. And he kind of took me under his wing, and I liked this guy a lot. He had just an astute business mind, and he was likable and just ferociously driven. And I liked so many things about this guy. And so he had this big ranch. Well, an owner of an NFL football team, like the head guy, the owner, the billionaire, I think his plane was a DC-9, his personal airplane, had come down to his ranch to hunt and to go, shoot animals, whatever. And so he had closed down the ranch, but the owner of the ranch allowed me to show up and to be there. So I got to meet this guy. It was kind of cool, and to see how the billionaires lived and played. And so the billionaire's out hunting. I'm with the owner of this ranch, and we go out in his Jeep, and we're driving around, and I just enjoyed being with the guy, picking his brain, listening to his stories, maybe getting just a little piece of wisdom from this old guy. And we drive up on top of this hill, and it's the afternoon, and he looks at his watch, and we're just sitting there looking around. I said, well, what are we doing? He said, we're just going to hang out here for a little bit. Okay. And we're looking around, and he kept looking at his watch. I said, we meeting somebody, or what's going on? We're in the middle of nowhere. He said, no, you'll see in a minute. And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, you'll see. And sure enough, he looked at his watch, and he goes, right about now. And within about 15 seconds of when he said right about now, I heard pow. That was the owner of the football team. That was his gun going off. He's right over kind of in that direction. I could hear the sound. Guy looks over at me, he smiles. I'm like, what? And my eyes are beginning, like I said, it's an epiphany. My eyes are beginning to open up. And all of a sudden on the radio, he gets a phone call. Mr. So-and-so, and it was the hunting guide. Mr. So-and-so, this is blah, blah, blah. And, Mr. So-and-so. And the guy I was with didn't answer the radio. I'm like, you going to talk to him? He goes, well, just a minute. I'm thinking, what's going on? First off, he looks at his watch, and the next he's ignoring the obvious radio message from his hunting guide. What's going on? The guy called again. Finally, he picks it up. He goes, yes. He said, what's going on? He said, Mr. So-and-so just downed a big whatever animal it was. Congratulations, he said back on the radio, and woohoo! And I'm going, wait a minute. This didn't seem very real to me. This seemed like a setup. Really? This guy I've been admiring what kind of game is going on? Looking at the watch, he must have known that animal or some animal was going to be there. He must have known that his hunting guide was going to influence, coerce this billionaire that owned the football team to pull the trigger on something. He had to know. I knew he knew that the sound was coming through. Hey, Mr. So-and-so, pick up the radio. I felt dirty. I felt like I was involved in something I didn't want to see. I didn't want to be involved in it. Went back down, met the guy. The football guy was happy and getting, people patting him on the back, and big guy. And I'm thinking, I don't think this is really that great of a deal. I mean, I'm not trying to be ugly here. I'm not going to name any names, but it was not something that I felt comfortable with. Yet I was there in that situation. And I'm going, I love hunting. I love the outdoors. I love the camaraderie. But I don't love this. This is dirty. It felt like being worked through at a timeshare. You know the feeling I'm talking about? You just get involved in something and it just gets dirty. And I never could look at hunting the same way anymore. I couldn't do it. There was something about it. Now, my question is, if the owner of the NFL football team would have known that he was the victim, he was being played, do you think he would have played the game? Do you think he knew he was being played and just didn't care? I don't know. But now what happened, that epiphany, I call it the ride of a lifetime. I thought I was going to go that way, end up going that way, and I went, whoa, and I learned something from this. That when you see what you don't want to see, you can't unsee it. No matter how hard I try, I can't unsee him looking at his watch and saying, hey, just a minute. I can't unsee that. And it makes me think in every situation, who is playing me? Who's influencing me? Who's lying to me? Who am I just so gullible and believing in that they're going to tell me the truth and I'm going to end up regretting it? Maybe. I don't think the billionaire football team owner ever had a clue he was being played. Maybe he did. I don't know. But every single time that I've ever been in any kind of a relationship, a working relationship, a business relationship, a personal relationship, when I realized that I was being played, the worst thing you can do, that I could do, and I've done it too much, is let the other person know that I'm being played. I can see it. I can see what you're doing. You don't need to play that game with me. Because as soon as people figure out that you figured out what their true motivation is, and it's not about you, it's about them. As soon as they know that you ain't their friend anymore. They're going to figure a way to cancel your contract. They're going to figure a way to marginalize you, talk bad about you, ignore you, overstep you, put you on the sideline, give somebody else a raise, give somebody else the promotion, because you know their game. And I think in today's economy, with, human beings are human beings. We are all capable of really good, kind, wonderful things. And at the same time, that fast, we're capable of pure evil and ugliness. I think that to acknowledge that is a good thing. I think that as the economy continues to get bad, inflation gets worse, prices go higher, that people are going to be put under new stress and strain that they've never felt before, me included. And it will be obvious and apparent that people are trying to play each other. Be on the lookout for people that are trying to play you. What is their end game? My end game here on this channel, I couldn't, if everybody I knew watched my video 1,000 times, I couldn't buy a cup of coffee with that money. My end game is truly to connect with people and to try to help make you think and just go, wow, I never thought of that. And not all my messages are going to make sense, and a lot of it sounds like gobbledygook to some people. A lot of young people don't need this stuff. They're going to learn how? They're going to learn on their ride of a lifetime. When something happens, they go, oh my God. Oh my God. Have you ever had one of those kind of moments when you finally, when the light bulb went on, the fog lifted, whatever metaphor you want to use, when you said, I'm being played? But one other thing. Because you're a human being, I want to encourage you to not play other people. Be honest, we don't have to play other people. Go with your gut. Go with your gut. God gave us that sense, the sixth sense. It's a powerful, powerful thing. Go with your gut. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. I felt dirty that day sitting in the Jeep, watching, observing, witnessing what was going on. Went back down to the camp house and watched everybody playing the same game. All the people that worked there were playing this game. It's like the politicians in Washington. It's like, I say that the people in Washington, it's like watching a professional wrestling match. It's entertainment. They know who's going to win. They know who's going to lose. And we're not supposed to believe that it's all fake. We are being played. All of us are being played by somebody at some level. And if you disagree with me, tell me. Tell me how we're not being played. What you see is really the truth. I think we get played at every single level, and we have to be smart enough to go, whoa, who's playing me? Now, people that sell products don't want you to think like that. They want you to be intoxicated on the sales pitch. Buy that timeshare, buy that $100,000 truck, buy that RV, buy that lot, invest in these stocks. They don't want you to stop and think. But I'm suggesting that we would all do better if we stopped and we thought it through and we said, is somebody playing me? We want people to make money. I want car dealers, RV dealers, I want stockbrokers, I want everybody to make money, but not at the expense of just cutting somebody's head off, not at the expense of lying to them. So if you feel dirty, my suggestion is try to get out of the mud as quickly as you can. If you feel the urge, the temptation, the opportunity to play dirty with somebody else, try to resist it. You know, the easy road is always the easiest place to go. It is. It's almost always the worst place to go. Taking the high road is not easy. It is lonely. You will face obstacles that if you just go with the masses, you're not going to have to face. But I think that the struggles of going up the high road are far, far worth it, worth the pain that it takes to get you there. So you're not going to see any old, bold pilots, but you will see some old, wise pilots. And hopefully I'm connecting with a few old, wise people, maybe some young, wise people here on this video. All right, everybody, I'm Alan Warren with a few words of, let's call it Wingman wisdom. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe, have fun, play nice, and don't leave your good manners at home. I'll see you next time.